With the state of modern emulation now, handhelds like the Thor can play an absolutely ridiculous amount of games in one place. I can sit down with this thing and have literally decades of gaming history at my fingertips, and I'll still spend 10 minutes trying to find something to play. It's akin to scrolling through Netflix without finding something to watch. And if you've watched as many videos about the Thor as I have, you've probably seen the same kind of high-end games demonstrated over and over again. But here in this video, I thought I'd do something a little different and look at a few games that look really great and are an awesome experience on the Thor, but maybe you might not think of right at the top of your list when you first buy one of these. Some of these games might just look great on the OLED screen or take advantage well of the second display, or maybe they're just really great for a quick session where you can close the thing up and stick it back in your bag. So let's start with one right now that probably wouldn't be near the top of your list, but absolutely deserves your attention. N Plus is a puzzle platforming gem from the Xbox 360 era. It also made its way to DS and PSP. If you've ever played Celeste, you'll know a little bit about what to expect here. Except in N Plus, it is a little bit more of a hybrid with old school Ninja Gaiden as well. So you're playing as a ninja, lots of wall jumping, evading hazards. Expect to die a lot in this game. So your objective is to get from one side of the arena to the door while opening it, while evading hazards as quickly and as efficiently as possible and sort of evading things that come after you. It's a pretty challenging game, but even when you die, it doesn't really take up too much time, so you can get right back into the action. There's no waiting 10 minutes to start up again like when you die in Symphony of the Night. So it's great for sit down sessions of even just a few minutes. You can pick this up, play a level or two, and even if you don't make it, your progress will be saved immediately. You don't have to worry about it. So it's really great for any kind of mobile experience. Soul Hackers is a 2013 3DS game, part of the Devil Summoner subseries from Shin Megami Tensei. If you've ever played an SMT game, you're going to see a lot of that DNA here. So walking through the city, interacting with people around you, you've got some first-person dungeon crawling, and sort of that pseudo-dark Pokemon aspect where you fight and recruit the demons that you interact with. And there's weapons, and there's a really dark story here, much like a lot of the other SMT games. There's also a really great graphics pack available for 3DS. You can look and find that online, where you can kind of sharpen up some of the details on the portraits. You also get some really great voice performances from some of the greats here, like Laura Bailey and Cassandra Lee Morris. So if you really get into the SMT games, you're going to recognize some of those voices. But also, it's just a really great experience as far as SMT, and you get that dark sort of collecting and battling system. I don't know about you guys, but one of my favorite things to do on the Thor is to kind of vibe out with some music and a puzzle game or something like Balatro where I can kind of turn my brain off a bit. Bejeweled Twist on Nintendo DS is a great option here. It's a little bit of a twist, if you forgive the pun, on the Match 3 genre. The Bejeweled series has been around for a long time, going back to the PC days in the early 2000s. So this is a version where instead of just sliding over, there's actually a rotation gimmick here, and you can actually use the stylus for this or just the button. So either one works great, and there's lots of hazards and things to up the urgency a little. But in general, if you're looking for a low-key puzzle game, this is a great option for you on Thor. Next up, we've got the granddaddy of FPS games, Doom. And not just any Doom. This is the GZ Doom engine running through Delta Touch. If you've never played the GZ Doom engine, basically what that means is you have much more modern sort of lighting and visual effects, dual stick support, better access to certain mods. What you're looking at right here is the Brutal Doom mod, which you've never played it. It's just an incredible experience. It's super violent. If the parents in the 90s could have seen it like this, they would have had an aneurysm. It's a lot of fun to play on this handheld. It hardly takes up any space at all. It's just super violent, fast-paced, and these levels are short, so you can play this in real short bursts as well. Honestly, it's just a real great experience. If you've never played the GZ Doom engine, one of the great things too about mod support like this is you can load them up into different WADs. So if you want to load the Brutal Doom mod up into Chex Quest, for example, and shoot some Flemoids with an assault rifle, you can do that here. I highly recommend you check this one out. The Punisher arcade game. Capcom was the master of their craft at the beat 'em up genre back in the 90s, and this is one of the finest examples they ever did. If you want to hit a lackey in the face with a potted plant or a bar stool, this is the game for you. Yes, it's themed from Marvel's The Punisher, but it is just an incredibly modern feeling beat 'em up game. There's so many items you can interact with and so many different moves. It's got a great two-player co-op mode with Nick Fury. It's just a really great game. And if you've ever enjoyed something like Streets of Rage or Mother Russia Bleeds, there's so much to enjoy here. And yes, it's an older game, but if you take a few minutes and play with it and just start grappling and throwing enemies around, you're going to find there's just a lot of fun to be had here. And it's honestly just really comic book ridiculousness, and there's so many weapons. You can throw a bardish at a boss, and it's so much fun. Trails in the Sky. I discovered this series by chance about 3 years ago after I completed Persona 4 Golden for the first time, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It follows Estelle Bright and her adopted brother Joshua as they go on sort of a world tour to become bracers. A bracer being sort of this international, independent sort of authority force. And it's just a really great series as far as the characters and the story. There's some great quirky dialogue here, especially from Estelle, and you'll absolutely love some of the things that she says. And it's just a really amazing time. And these first two games are very accessible now. It is turn based combat. There's a magic orbment system that's really entertaining. The games can be a little harder if you're not used to the old JRPGs, but they are very approachable now because you can play them on PSP, the PS Vita Evolution remakes, or the very recent remake, which you've probably heard of. The sequel, Second Chapter, has a remake that's due in a matter of weeks, so there's never been a better time to try this series. So don't let it deter you that it's a very long series, but you should absolutely play these first three games, especially, even in a standalone way. So, can't recommend them enough. Definitely check out the Trail series. Legend of Legacy on 3DS. This is a much lighter game than something like the Trail series, but it is still a quintessential JRPG on the 3DS. This sort of chibi art style and that sort of DS Final Fantasy sort of way really has grown on me over time. It's a really great little game. You explore the world with these characters that you choose and kind of go along with and explore the world and the story as you go. As I said, it's kind of a much lighter game, but it's still a great experience and it's just really beautiful on this OLED screen. If you're looking for a very approachable JRPG, I think you can look no further than Legend of Legacy. Flat Out Head On PSP. If you'd never played the Flat Out series, it's cut from a really similar cloth to something like Burnout, so it's a lot of rough and tumble, sort of smashing into cars and trying to cause as much chaos as you can. You never really feel like you're very much in control of what's going on. Where Burnout's kind of a lot of about speed, you feel more in control almost in Burnout. This game, you almost always feel like something's a bad spot to happen, but it feels really great. And this PSP port is honestly really great, and the visually it looks pretty damn good, all things considered. Flat Out 2 on PS2 is also a great experience, but this uses considerably less power, and it's still just as good of an experience. So it's very Demolition Derby, and if you ever played like Wreckfest, it's a very similar game to something like that. And if you like that almost road rash style vehicle combat kind of racing game where you're fighting with the other cars without weapons, there's a lot to like here. Unicorn Overlord is the most modern game on this list. It's made by Vanillaware and Atlas, and it just has this absolutely beautiful sort of hand-drawn Vanillaware art style, and it's just absolutely gorgeous on this display. The story is it's not anything that special. It follows Elaine as he tries to reclaim his kingdom from these dark forces and get a bit of vengeance for some issues that happened in the past. There's an absolutely huge, staggering cast of some amazing characters, some great voice acting here. The combat is really unique, actually. There's active abilities and passive abilities. So, your active ability, you do something like a direct attack, and your passive ability, you do something like healing or shielding your teammates. And the actual active attacks go off without you actually doing them yourself. They follow sort of an automated system based on this logic that you can set up. It is just an absolutely fascinating combat loop from sort of any kind of thing else that's in this arena. I've never played anything else that has a combat loop like this. If you like strategy RPGs in its open world setting, you really can't go wrong here. It's a very long game. I spent about 100 hours on my playthrough, but it's an absolute joy. And it's just visually one of the most beautiful games I think that can play on this console. Lumines is a puzzle game on PSP, and as you can see, it looks absolutely fantastic on this display again. It almost has this sort of rhythm game mixed with Tetris sort of vibe. It's really interesting, but instead of the normal thing where you're completing lines or something like a match 3, basically the boxes all have to match their color up in a box of 4. So you actually have to retune your brain, especially if you're used to other puzzle games, because you can easily kind of screw yourself if you put things in a way where you would normally do for a match 3 or something like Tetris. So you have to kind of be careful, but really great soundtrack here, really great experience, and it just looks absolutely amazing on this little OLED display. And it just shows you how great PSP upscaling can really be, because it just absolutely shines on the Thor. That's going to do it for this list today, guys. Drop a like for me if you like this style of video. I hope you got something out of it, maybe learned about a game or a franchise you hadn't heard of or thought of in a long time. So that'll do it for me today, guys. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.